Time for today's focus now, and it takes us to Ukraine. 3 years ago, the Minsk agreement aimed at ending the war there was signed, but the war goes on. Parts of the eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk are still occupied by Russian-backed separatists. It's hard to get casualty figures in areas outside Kiev's control, but last year almost 200 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and over 85 civilians on the Ukrainian side. Kiev recently passed a law officially designating Russia as an aggressor and an occupier. Nevertheless, many of those living inside the war zone are highly critical of the Ukrainian government, accusing it of neglecting them. Our reporter Gulliver Cragg has been travelling with the International Committee of the Red Cross to the front line.
At the checkpoint at Stanitsa Luhanska, a billboard greets those arriving from the occupied territories. Don't mess with the Ukrainians holding yellow and blue flags, it says, or they'll come after you with the red and black ones. Red and black are the colours of far-right nationalists, much feared in Ukraine's eastern regions. Local officials said the poster was a joke, but LYUDMILA isn't in the mood for laughing. Like many here, she has to cross into government-held territory regularly in order to receive her pension.
Their attitude towards us is just, it's like they've decided we're enemy number one. What is this? Do they think we wanted this to happen? To be cut off from the rest of the country? We were happy living in Ukraine. We got our pensions at home. Now, for some reason, they've called us occupiers.
She's referring to a new law passed in Ukraine that actually designates Russia, not local people, as the occupier. It's known as the reintegration law, but its focus is on security operations. Donbas residents say they see little in it for them.
They won't even fix the bridge. The Luhansk People's Republic offered to provide materials, but Ukraine refused.
A bridge up ahead was shelled in 2015. This crossing has been pedestrians only since then. Ukraine says it will repair the bridge, but needs the other side to guarantee a ceasefire for at least as long as the work takes. Until then, it's a 1.3-kilometre walk for these pensioners. The Red Cross has set up a heating hut where they can break their journey and get some warm tea. Here, Valentyna admits she knows little about the new law.
The thing is, in Luhansk, we don't have access to Ukrainian TV channels, so we've got practically zero information.
Lack of understanding between the two sides is compounded by the strain the border traffic puts on Stanitsa Luhanska's resources.
The vast majority of these people here, we call them tourists, because they don't live here. They just pick up their pensions and shopping and go back to the other side. This causes problems for our town, our people. Big queues, inflated prices.
Inside the town's hospital is a cash machine, popular because it's a warmer place to queue for pension money. No one here wants to talk, though, because it's illegal to draw a Ukrainian pension if you actually live on non-government-held territory, a rule that makes these people feel unwanted by Kiev. And hospital staff have a similar sentiment.
Average pay here is €100 a month. It's not fair. We're talking about people who came to work even under shelling and brought medical assistance to soldiers and civilians.
IVANOV says if he can't offer bonuses for working in the war zone, he can't attract the personnel the hospital needs. He feels abandoned.
In Kiev, they don't really know about all the damage and deaths here. They see what they see on TV. They draw the conclusion that it's not so bad. And also, at the end of the day, it's far away, somewhere out there on the edge of the country, and it's the locals' own fault anyway.
Ukraine's government rejects these charges and insists it does care. Officials often blame the state's negative image on poor access to Ukrainian TV along the front line. Yet a recent study showed that the main channels devote less than 5% of their airtime to news from Donbass. Perhaps because not much changes around here. Low-intensity war is the new normal, and with it, economic blight. That's where these odd creatures come in. The Red Cross offered grants for people who had lost their jobs in the mines to invest in animals as alternative sources of revenue. Andrei and Viktoria chose COYPUs, a large rodent prized in Ukraine both for its fur and its meat.
Apparently at this size, they're still considered small.
Everyone's asking me when we're going to sell them for meat. Everyone wants some. I never tasted it, but I can't wait.
The couple say they heard heavy shelling nearby just a few days ago, but it's been several months since the last time homes in this town were hit. As local people are keen to show us, though, earlier damage has not been repaired.
If they could just sort out the stairwell, then they could put a roof on and we could move back in.
But people have got so used to seeing images like this from Donbass, they no longer attract attention. One event in December, though, did capture the public imagination. A massive prisoner swap saw 73 people released into Ukraine from captivity in Donetsk and Luhansk. HALYNA HAYEVA's story is a reminder of why Ukraine considers the Donbass war a Russian invasion. She worked in a hospital in a small town near Donetsk when so-called separatists took over.
They were Russian soldiers. They openly told us this. But when they came in with really serious injuries, like they'd lost limbs or something, then it would be recorded that they had left their units before the injury took place.
Caught informing the Ukrainian authorities about the Russians' presence, HALYNA was taken to see an investigator.
He was also Russian. I asked him about it. I said, okay, it seems like some of these guys with you are local rebels. But what are you doing here? He said, it's nothing personal, it's just my job.
HALYNA and her sons now live 1,000 kilometers from Donbass and don't know whether they'll ever return. Not everyone back home feels as patriotic as they do towards Ukraine.